After a long time coming, Late Night with the Devil is finally here. Racked with some controversy, but any publicity is good publicity. Matthew Vivian, what was the plot?
The plot is, so it's like a 70s talk show. It's your Jimmy Kimmel and your Jimmy Fallon of the day. David Dasmalchia is the presenter. He's very successful, but not quite the most, and he wants to be the most. He's into that shit. Anyway, for publicity, he has like a Halloween episode they're doing where there's a what's it called? Like when those bullshitters who like do Barnum statements to pretend that they are talking to the dead.
Like psychic?
A clairvoyant. Yeah. He's got them on, he's got a skeptic on, and he's got a girl and a doctor who... the girl was in a cult and she escaped, and then there's the doctor, psychiatric doctor. He has them on as guests. And then things start to go crazy, and it seems like the bad stuff's real, and he's like, this is great for viewing figures, I'm just going to keep rolling with it. And it's just basically a talk show. It's all kind of found footage, it's meant to be. The raw footage of that show, and also the behind the scenes footage in the ad breaks, and it's really good.
Amazing. I have not seen it. So everyone out there, just to make you all very aware, this does not count as my pretend to have seen the film and see if Matt catches on. This is not my The Killer. I haven't seen it. I wasn't able to, because it's one of those very limited releases, and even more limited releases in the UK. I just struggled to find it anywhere, which is such a shame. So I'm going to have to wait until it comes out on the 15th of April to watch it online.
There's a lot of cinemas in Glasgow, and I always found that it was on at like 9, once a day at 9. And I think we watched it at 6 in like one cinema. Actually, I watched it in the tallest cinema in the world. I think that's right.
Wow.
6 floors it was. 6 floors.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Cineworld's Birmingham's got 2 floors. Actually, it's 7 floors because there's a ground floor. It goes up to level 6. I know. Level 5 I watched it on. Anyway.
Instead of watching it, I instead watched This Time with Alan Partridge with the Halloween soundtrack on in the background.
Oh, okay.
So I understand the vibes completely. Good. Thank you.
That's great. Okay. We'll just pitch in whenever something seems relatable.
Great.
Well, actually, the first topic you can probably talk about. You haven't seen the film, but I think I want to address the elephant in the room first, because that's all anyone's talking about.
Yeah.
Just get it out of the way.
Which is such a shame that they are. However.
Yeah.
AI.
So, this film contains 3 images that were AI generated. And people are not happy about that. And I think they're perfectly reasonably not happy about that. And I think it's good that everyone is kicking up such a fuss, because hopefully that will make directors and producers not cut corners that easily again.
Yes, completely.
Because people are furious. Now, I'm not going to pretend like we're perfect, because we've both used AI in our short films in terms of props. I've used, in the Elf film, there's some shots of like the Christmas elves going through like children's profiles, and I didn't have any pictures of kids, so I did like the AI generated pictures of kids. This person does not exist, and you also did that
exactly the same.
The character's mother in a photo.
Yes.
And I get it, when it's like a low budget thing, you can't have access to things, and so you can't get permissions, and so just doing that. I get it, and I think that's kind of probably why they did it, because it's a very low budget film. It's all set in like, it must have all been filmed on a small soundstage. It was shot in Australia.
Oh, completely.
None of the cast are famous apart from David Dasmalchia, who is I've never seen him as a leading man before.
I think this is kind of the big one, isn't it, for him?
Yeah, and I think it is just a case of they were really scraping by money and just cut a shortcut that honestly, they're very simple images. They could have hired someone to draw them. It wouldn't have cost very much money, but I think it's just a cheap thing, and they thought they could cut corners, and they didn't realise how much it would upset people.
Completely. However, just to play kind of devil's advocate here, almost like we're in a podcast, so I'm just going to keep the conversation going.
Okay, that's fair.
The difference between us using This Person Does Not Exist is very different to our version of low budget to their version of low budget, where it would have cost $100 to pay someone to make 3 still images
Yes.
It's just lazy.
I should probably say what the images are. They are basically, because it's a TV show, it's the Halloween special. It says like, we'll be back after these messages or something like that. With like Halloween logos, there's like there's owl on a TV set, and there's like a skeleton and stuff like that. They're just simple cartoons before the ad break. And they're on screen for a couple of seconds each. I'll send you, there's one of them I found on the internet, and I'll send it you so you can take a look at it. And as you can see, you can tell it's AI. Like, the fingers are fucked. This left leg is completely messed up. The shoulder and the ribs on its left side are just all over the place. The pumpkins on the floor, like the features are weird. Like, it looks AI, which is really out of place in something set in the 70s.
And I mean, you could have got it done as AI and then sent to an artist and said, "Can you make this, please?" If that's what you wanted.
For bare minimum, you could have touched this up on Photoshop, like, and
do it yourself. Go on Procreate and trace it. And it's almost not fair that this is being pulled up so much for AI, but it's important that it is, because you need to show that it is not acceptable under any circumstances, under any projects that you can use that with any if you have a budget, you should not be using AI in a creative way.
No.
So it's a shame, but
throw another devil's advocate right back at you.
Oh my god.
Is this is a simulation, and simulations have been a part of like visual effects for a long time. Like, you look at the live action Lion King, right? There's an example for you. Do you think
there's no AI or VFX there. They were lions.
Really?
Yeah. That was all lion.
Well,
yeah.
I was gonna say, when you look at all the rocks and the blades of grass and all that, like, and all the furs on the animals, like, that's just a simulation. They just type those in and they generate it. But are you saying they just shot it for real?
Yes.
Bad example.
So if it wasn't, then I know what you mean.
But if they were to have done the whole film with CGI, which to me is a complete waste of time, but if they were to have wasted their time doing that, then like, that is a simulation, and simulations have been around forever. And you could argue that it's just a new thing, and like, CGI was lazy back then, and then we got used to it, and green screen was lazy, we got used to it. You could argue it's the next stage of that. But I think there is a difference, and I think
completely.
I think it's kind of okay to do simulations when it's impossible for a human. This is very, very possible, and they shouldn't.
If you are taking work away from a human being, not acceptable,
not good
at all.
I agree.
However, we have kind of proved to the point that a lot of the discussion around this film is around the total of 10 seconds worth of screen time of AI images. However, did you enjoy the film, firstly?
I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I did.
Good.
And everyone it was actually a really packed screening. It was quite a big...
Really?
Quite a big
that's
one.
really lovely to hear.
Yeah, it was quite a big screening. There was a lot of people in it.
Because it's like a Shudder original or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, really weird.
Shudder was, I think, the first logo to come up, and then there was 20 other logos. And I love that when you have like an independent film, and the way of them getting all the budget and the distribution is just hundreds of small companies coming together. It was
You've got like Dave Scaffolding. He's there.
Skip hire. Like, anyone will chip in a bit of money.
You've got Tim Vivian's bees. They buzz on screen.
I put a $5 in. It said my name for a few seconds. But no,
it just shows all the Patreon side of the front.
But yeah, no, everyone was really enjoying it, and my mate, I went to see it with Gillian. Like, I asked her what her thoughts was, and because she didn't know anything, I just said, like, can we go and watch a movie tonight? Because I need to watch it for the podcast. And she was like, yeah, sure, let's do it.
Was she scared?
No.
Okay.
And so she didn't know anything about it, and she was a bit unsure whether you're supposed to laugh, because it starts off being quite funny. In fact, it's quite humorous throughout. And she was like, I didn't know if it was meant to be a comedy or if it was just bad or if it was meant to be a horror because it wasn't really scary.
Interesting.
People were laughing throughout. Yeah. There's some good gags. It wasn't particularly scary, but it definitely had its moments of creepiness. I thought it was really good, and I thought it was quite original. I hadn't really seen anything like that before.
It seems very Eric Andre.
Yeah. I'd say that's a similar thing, but it's a lot more of a horror film. I mean, it has when a girl's like possessed, it's sort of that Exorcist style, like a teenage girl saying rude things.
She'll suck your mum,
like she looks,
and he goes, "What?"
Suck your mother. But she looks quite similar as well, like the makeup effect. Possibly a negative is that the found footage, I think there are a few bits as it goes on that are maybe not quite as literal, and so potentially it betrays that format, especially when it's still got the same visual style of like 70s TV or like 70s handheld behind the scenes camera. And the cast are great. I hadn't heard of any of them except for David Dasmalchia. All of the others are Australian. They all have like basically no
Chris
film credits.
Hemsworth, Margot Robbie.
They probably hired them. No, not them. They're not in it. They're not.
Kylie
they couldn't
Minogue.
afford them. No, they probably hired these people on Facebook in like Melbourne
on Mandy.
actors.
They went on Mandy.com looking for
they probably
people.
Did. They got them on Fiverr, I reckon. But they were really good. They were all great. And the girl in it, let me look up her name. She's like a teenage girl who's
is it the titular devil?
Well, I guess the girl who's possessed by the devil. I need to look up that actress's name because she's not done anything else. Ingrid Torelli played Lily, who's like the girl who's possessed. Brilliant. I don't know how she is, but she's like a teenager. So creepy.
Yeah.
Even when she's not like being possessed, she's sort of a little bit off, and like look the way she stares and the way she talks. It's brilliant. And but yeah, they're all great. The Skeptic's great. David Dasmalchia, I've always liked him.
He's always great. He's always great.
He's great. I think you look a little bit like him. He's got more of like a cheekbone sort of thing.
He's got a bit of a longer face. I started taking note of him because I know he's done loads. Like he's one of those actors, a bit like Carl Urban, where he just kind of shows up in a lot. But I really started a lot of good stuff, and he's always great.
But he's always a supporting role.
Yes,
I've never ever seen him lead.
Really started taking note when he played that blob in Ant-Man Quantumania. I was like, wow, this guy, he's going to be big.
He was the best part of the movie. I laughed at every joke involving that blob, and I didn't laugh at many of the other jokes.
When he kept saying about holes, I was like, man,
I thought that was really funny.
That's going to go down in history.
He said the number of holes, and then Ant-Man counted in his head, and he was like, yeah, that's right. I thought that was hilarious, because we were all doing the same thing. In all seriousness,
he's great. He's great in June. He's great in The Dark Knight.
And he's great as a leading man, it turns out. He's brilliant in this film. He's got the charisma of a talk show host. He's sort of... I don't know the 70s host that they're... I think it's Carson they talk about a lot. Like I don't really know those ones that they based him off. But in terms of modern things, he's got that sort of Jimmy Fallon-ness of very charismatic, but he seems dead behind the eyes. It's very obviously an act.
Yeah, and I hate all of these American talk show hosts. They're like all the same, and none of them are overly talented or funny.
And I like Stephen Colbert, and I like
Graham
Conan.
Norton. Because Graham Norton
real
does not give a shit.
Without a doubt, the best. But yeah, no, he's brilliant in that bit, and then him in his like kind of not his on-camera persona, also really interesting, really good.
Is it? I don't joke aside. Is it like this time where you have the on-camera Partridge and then the off-camera Partridge, and like the politics that are around that?
Probably, yeah.
I'll watch it. This time's so funny.
Okay.
It sounds very similar that you've got him bumbling along during the show, like the live recording, and then they'll cut to a VO, and then it will be the camera will be like out of focus, misframed, and then he'll be talking to his assistant while they're showing the VO, and then it will come back to the show.
Yeah, it's a bit like that, yeah. Yeah, and being American TV, they have a million ad breaks, so they get the opportunity to see off camera quite a lot. And you see the producer and I guess like the floor manager, and his co-host. He doesn't get along with as much as he does on camera. There's not much more to say. I'm not going to spoil it. I think give it a watch. I think it's really interesting. If you can see the limited release, do. If not, wait till it comes out on Shudder or if it gets picked up anywhere else.
What did you rate it out of 5?
I give it 4 stars
That's really good. That's lovely.
Yeah, I think if it was scarier, I'd give it more. And if they didn't have the AI images. But honestly, yeah, I mean, there wasn't much to fault with it. It's not very long. It's like 85 minutes. And I was just gripped throughout. It's really good. And I want to see more from these directors if they don't get cancelled for using AI.
Amazing. I'm very excited to watch it. I obviously didn't see Late Night with the Devil, and any haters out there that would say that I was too scared to watch it, you're wrong.
I think you're a pussy. I think you're too scared.
Matt, don't you dare say that I was an adult man. I just couldn't find it anywhere.
I think you were weeing in your pants. It's only 15. It's not even an 18. I think you tried to go in, and then like it says shudder on screen.
I wear adult nappies now.
I
don't wee anymore. I don't wee anymore.
You weed through them.
I didn't. Shh. So I decided, what could I watch that is equally as scary? And what is scarier than Jamaican politics? I watched Bob Marley, One Love.
Did you? Wow. Yeah, sorry, I'm eating a bit of Easter egg. Yeah, okay. I was kind of interested in seeing the film, and then no one really talked about it, and it went away, and I was like, guess I'm not watching that one then.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
It has the man from Barbie in. It's got one of the Kens.
It does.
The quiet Ken. He plays Bob Marley. And imagine a film that is extremely boring and very long and made me turn it off halfway through. That's Bob Marley, One Love. And there's nothing scarier than that when it comes to films. And I gave it 1.5 stars.
That's brilliant. Yeah, that's the worst thing a film can be, is boring.
It was so bad.
There are plenty of them. Okay,
it's like,
so what's wrong with it then?
Well, it's like, aren't they turning Live Aid into a film? So it's all based around, it starts with like black text about Bob Marley. He came from humble beginnings, and then he became Bob Marley.
Then why don't we watch that in the film? I don't need that in text.
It's just text, I know. And then you've got Bob Marley playing concerts, playing like a free concert, because it's all about the politics of them leaving the UK and like the gang wars and stuff. So it's more like...
I thought he was just Jamaican. I know nothing about Bob Marley apart from a couple of his songs.
Jamaica was I don't know, it's not anymore, is it? A British colony. Territory. Yes, territory. Okay. So it's all about them getting independence. It's similar to Maestro, where it's the first half.
The least interesting part about
isn't about his music.
Life.
It isn't about him. It's about a weird political thing that he did, almost to like justify that he's more than a musician. And you're like, I don't really care. So it's very boring. Don't watch it.
Look, I think I brought up in other episodes, but Rocket Man isn't about Elton John's music, but Elton John's music is so in Rocket Man.
Yeah.
They use it as a jukebox musical of his songs, but it's about him as a person, and it's about his struggles with drug addiction, which is why it's good and why it's interesting.
Yeah. And Rocket Man, you work the songs into the narrative, and they're all meant to be there, and they're all musical numbers. Whereas this, it's here's a scene, then let's have a wide transition of location and play one of his songs. It doesn't link to anything. It's not. It's not related. It's just to keep audience attention and go, that's Bob Marley's song. And then another sequence. And then I know that one. That's when he shot the sheriff. And then another sequence and then another song. And I'm like, I'm going to bed. How boring.
Okay. So a film about Jamaica getting independence from the UK, I guess, could be interesting, or a biopic about Bob Marley could be interesting, but Bob Marley shouldn't be the lead character in a biopic about Jamaica getting independence from the UK.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Arguably not the main character to be telling this story about. I'm sure he was politically important.
Yeah.
Not
but he's
really
more musically important.
Yes, I would say so.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair. I probably won't watch it then.
Yeah. It's like doing a Beatles film, but then just focusing on John Lennon in bed.
John Lennon. Wait, what? Are you talking about Lennon naked? Because that is a film.
No, when he does his lay-in, he does the political protest, like stay in bed against Vietnam.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, him and Yoko.
Because I don't care about musicians apart from their songs.
Yeah,
so I know that.
And that's kind of the problem about like the celebrity sphere.
Is I think anyone with a life doesn't care about anything apart from their art.
So hey ho, very boring. Probably scarier than Late Night with the Devil. Don't watch it.
Okay, well I won't watch it then.